Hello and welcome to Dice-Slingers. I'm your host, Laren. And before we get on today's topic of today's episode, I'd like to take a moment to ask you to please like and subscribe down below. Uh, it is greatly appreciated by me and everyone else that is trying to help me, especially my wife, because I want to try to get to at least 500 subscribers by Christmas. All right, now on to today's episode. All right. Okay, you know, you're a game master or DM, and you've got a great idea for a new campaign. So, you get ready, you gather your players together, and you begin the campaign. And at first, everything is going fine, and then you notice that one of the players stops showing up for the session are and are participating in the game. And what happens is suddenly that person, like I said, they're no longer there. Now, this is known as ghosting. And now, ghosting is more of a recent trend, especially with online gaming. But first, let's kind of define what ghosting is. Right? Right. Very simply put, ghosting is when a player or a GM disappears from the game without notice. That means they don't call, they don't tell anybody why they dropped out or why they're not showing up anymore. They just simply disappear. And after a while, the group just accepts the fact that that person is not coming back. You know? And like I said, it's more of a online gaming phenomenon than it is for live action or live play, and it can be very frustrating. So, all right, let's talk about the reasons of why some of the reasons why uh, people ghost. All right, and okay, and again, just I want to say up front that this list is not the end all be all of why someone is ghosting your campaign or dropping out. All right. Okay. First one is simply a burnout. All right. They maybe overcommitted to your game. They got too many irons in the fire as far as gaming is concerned. Right. Another one is anxiety or shame. Some miss a session and feeling too embarrassed to come back. Of course, that I really don't get that one, but then again, people, I guess some people feel that way if they miss a game. Next is okay, conflict avoidance. Uh, Maybe they don't like someone else at the table, and instead of risking a confrontation with that person, they just drop out. They just say, "Well, I'm not going to, I don't like Johnny, so I'm not going to play in that campaign." Right? And another thing is life changes. This happens to everyone. Maybe there's a new baby in the family. Maybe they got suddenly transferred out of town for the job. All right. Again, this happens to everybody. Life does change. All right. And that's fair. That happens. Like I said, it happens to everyone. And last is it says disinterest. All right. Maybe they just weren't invested as the other players are, and they instead of just saying, "Hey, this game is not for me," they just kind of quietly disappear. All right. All right. Now, okay. Well, of course, when someone goes, there is some fallout. All right. And that means, okay. All right. And again, like I said, this is not the end all be all of what happens when someone goes, what happens to the campaign. All right. And again, I want to apologize. I'm means for the size of the font. Me and Streamlabs are still trying to get to know each other. All right. All right. Okay. When someone goes, it can wreck the interventions. Hang on. I gotta read this right. Okay. It can the momentum of a campaign. For the players, it kind of maybe throws the group dynamics out of balance a little bit because now that player is no longer participating in the campaign. Uh, for the GM, it can be really tough, and I speak from experience because one time I built, made a character kind of the focus of some sessions, like of some upcoming sessions, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, he ghosted me. And what was really bad is that he had a lot of the handouts that the party needed to complete their quests. So as a result, we had to end the campaign. Right. And of course, there's the emotional impact, because sometimes because they dropped out or ghosted, which means not just dropping out and not telling others why they're dropping out of the campaign. Some players and GMs may feel is that they may have been something they did to offend the player, right? And that's kind of a that's not a good feeling to have, you know, right? And now we need to know what we can do to let's manage preventing and manage ghosting. All right. Okay. All right. And of course, the first one is you got to run a session zero. You got to set expectations and around attendance and communication. Like for instance, in my Foundry campaign, which is I told everyone that if they fail to show up for 3 sessions in a row without notifying me, I'm dropping them from the campaign. All right, right. That's one thing. Okay. I also put in a no judgment clause. Let players know they can bow out anytime without guilt as long as they communicate with you that they are bowing out. They just drop. They say, "Hey, Laren, I can't. I'm sorry, but I can't play in your campaign because X, Y, and Z." All right, that's fine. All right. Also, you got to use backup channels. Have a campaign Discord or even a Facebook page. That way, you can kind of keep the dialogue going between you and your players. All right. Okay. All right. Check with your players. Ask them on a regular basis. Hey, how do you like the campaign? Is there anything that you want me to do or not do? All right. Okay. And also, this hard one kind of is know when to move on. Okay. Don't chase someone that doesn't want to be there. I mean, that's you gotta give them permission to say, hey, I'm letting go. I want to I want to concentrate on the players that are at my table. All right. And okay. All right. Now here is okay. After a player goes, okay, what do you do? All right. Okay. If your DM decide to handle the missing character, uh, of, in this for the game, like how do you handle that missing character? This is in game. You can just have them simply just write them out of the story or out of the adventure, or quietly remove them. If you're a player, let your game master know your thoughts about that character, and what it means to you as a character. All right, and speaking of thoughts, I would appreciate if you would in the comments below if you let me know your views on ghosting, and also like have you had players ghost? Have you ghosted? Again, I'd appreciate everybody's thoughts in the comments. And until next episode, I guess keep singing those dice, and I will see y'all later.